Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're diving into the absolutely incredible artistic journey of the Beatles. Now, this isn't about just ranking their greatest hits. Nope. We're going to explore how four guys from Liverpool completely changed the game, totally reshaping popular music in, less than a decade? It's an amazing story. So let's trace this evolution from pop stars to true pioneers. And really, this is the big question, isn't it? How on earth does a band go from being teen idols to timeless, groundbreaking artists in just 7 years? It's a story about never, ever standing still, about constantly pushing the limits of what a song or an album or even a band could be. So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll look at their career in 5 key stages. First, the Beatlemania explosion. Then, their huge decision to stop touring and just focus on the studio. After that, we dive into their wild psychedelic phase, see how each of them really found their own voice, and we'll finish up with their absolutely epic final albums. All right, first up, the invasion. In the early 60s, the Beatles weren't just a band, they were a force of nature, a cultural phenomenon that just took the entire world by storm, with these perfectly written, unbelievably catchy pop songs. And the speed of it all was just mind-blowing. Look at this timeline. At the very end of '63, I Want to Hold Your Hand hits #1 in America. Just a couple months later, they're on Ed Sullivan and everything changes. And then, by the middle of 1964, they had already racked up 5 #1 hits. It wasn't an invasion, it was a total takeover. And the magic of their early stuff is right there in that lyric. It's so simple. It's direct, it's something everyone everywhere can understand, and it's delivered with this energy that you just couldn't fight. That was the formula. Driving guitars, incredible harmonies, and a message so clear it didn't matter where you were from. But, all the constant touring and the screaming crowds, it really started to wear them down. So in 1966, the Beatles made a game-changing decision. They were done with live shows. They quit touring. The stage was out, and the studio became their new laboratory. And you could hear the change almost instantly. You gotta love this story. Apparently, Paul McCartney's aunt challenged him to write a song that wasn't about love. So what does he do? He comes back with Paperback Writer, a track with this heavy, driving bass line and a real hard rock feel. It was the first big sign that they were thinking way beyond, I love you, you love me. And this shift in focus, it led them straight into the world of psychedelia. And the important thing to get here is that this wasn't just about writing trippy lyrics. It was about using the studio as an instrument itself to create sounds and textures that nobody in Western pop music had ever heard before. And wow, does this slide nail the transformation? Just think about it. In only 2 years, they go from the super direct, I want to hold your hand, to this. From Tomorrow Never Knows, turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream. It's not a request anymore, it's an instruction. The jump is just staggering. So let's go a little deeper into this whole psychedelic era, because they weren't just changing their words. They were completely reinventing the very idea of what a pop song could sound like. They basically took the rule book and tore it to shreds. Just look at these 3 songs. You've got George Harrison bringing the sitar into the mainstream on Norwegian wood, opening the door to all kinds of Eastern sounds. Then, for Eleanor Rigby, they don't even play their own instruments. It's just them singing over a string octet. And Tomorrow Never Knows? They're messing with tape loops and drones to create this sonic hallucination. Every single song was a whole new frontier. And maybe the peak of all this experimentation was Strawberry Fields Forever. This was just a mind-bending piece of production. John Lennon's vision had them recording things backwards, speeding things up, slowing them down, and, the craziest part, they literally cut and pasted 2 totally different versions of the song together, different keys, different speeds, and somehow it works. It's a surreal masterpiece. So as they got into their later years, the band started to, fracture a little bit. That intense, 4-headed monster collaboration began to fray. But here's the amazing thing. Out of that growing tension, the individual songwriting voices of each Beatle just exploded into full bloom. And maybe the best example of this is George Harrison. He wasn't just the quiet Beatle anymore. He stepped out from the shadow of Lennon and McCartney and became this absolute powerhouse, writing songs like the gorgeous Here Comes the Sun, the classic romance of Something, and the incredible blues of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And at the same time, you have Paul McCartney crafting gems like Blackbird. This is basically a solo track. It's just his voice, his acoustic guitar, and his foot tapping the beat. And it's this simple, beautiful, and deeply powerful song that was actually inspired by the civil rights movement. And all of this brings us to the end. Their final albums were made while the band was in turmoil, really on the verge of breaking up. And yet, they managed to create some of the most ambitious, the most epic, and frankly, the most beautiful music of their entire career. If you really want a sense of the scale they were working on at the end, just think about this one number, 36. That's how many musicians were in the orchestra for that epic 4-minute-long sing-along at the end of Hey Jude. It wasn't just a chorus, it was this huge, communal, euphoric event they were trying to create on tape. This is probably the ultimate example of that fractured genius. A Day in the Life is really two different songs stitched together. You have John's parts, which are surreal and dark, based on things he read in the newspaper. And then you have Paul's bit, which is this upbeat little tune about his morning routine. You smash them together, and you get this jarring, brilliant, profound statement on modern life. And of course, their final swan song, the incredible 16-minute medley on Abbey Road. They had all these little bits and pieces of unfinished songs, and in one last massive act of working together, they wove all 8 of them into this one seamless, breathtaking finale that let every single one of them have a final moment in the spotlight. You know, it's just so perfect that the very last lyric on the last album they ever recorded is this one. It's a simple, beautiful, profound thought that kind of sums up everything the band was about. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to chew on. The Beatles made some of their most beautiful, most cohesive music right when they were personally falling apart. So, what does that tell us about genius, about collaboration, about that messy, complicated, and amazing relationship between conflict and creativity? It's something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.